Welcome back. We're here to do the twin flame update. I'm just going to turn my headset off because it's going flat. And we are going to get into the energy update for the twin flame collective. Yes, it is rather late, or wherever you are, it could actually be quite early. Has not technology been great since Pluto ingressed into Aquarius? The veins of social media. You know, we had the North Node in Gemini a couple of years back, and it was like, oh, great, Mercury retrograde for 2 years. And now we have Pluto in the house of Aquarius, which does relate to technology, the internet. You know, there were things going around the media to do with hacking, which there was the possibility of hacking and technology. But it's glitches collectively, and it's the changes that we'll find with social media platforms. They also can relate to freedom of speech and shared information, and that definitely can be changing. It is currently at 1 degree, so we're also having highlights of that, which I will go into in a mini energy update. At the beginning of it, we'll look at the Sabian symbol for this next moon coming up and how to best navigate it, and into the twin flame read, which I'll start getting the cards. We'll have a quick check. We'll have a quick chat. Let's get a ruin cast for the joint connection and where the energy's at. What would I say? I've had some psychic downloads of late, and I do want to share some of them with you guys. Definitely with the North Node in Aries, I had this revelation. It's almost like a return of the king, so to speak. It's like the alpha energy. So leadership roles, I do believe, are going to be changing collectively, especially with the North Node in Aries. Let's pull some cards. Hi, Lois. I did PM you. I'll have to go back and check and Skype or PM'd you. Hope you've been okay, lady. So over the last few months, many of you could have been quite tired. We had retrogrades, directs. We had Pluto ingress into Aquarius. So we have been cleaning up a little bit of shop, and that's around the area of Capricorn. Now, it's not to say that that still isn't playing out, with that tidy up of it, and we will revisit that towards the end of the year. I do have the astrology up. I'm going to open another one because I want to open the moon to have a look at this next moon that's coming up, which I believe is going to be quite important, being that the next nodal cycle that is shifting next year. This is going to bring some subject matters up towards it. It's going to be in the house of Pisces. It is going to be a new moon. We also had Saturn moving through a rebirth. So if you found that things were funky and you weren't coping and you were going backwards, only to be, going forwards and then going backwards, that is because we're having a fresh start happening in that Pisces zone at this point in time. So try and be patient with yourself. We did have some fairly hectic few weeks there where we felt we were pushing a wheelbarrow uphill, and it's just no sooner did you get up the top of the mountain, there was another one waiting for you. That should be a bit different this month. However, this can be a very transformative month because we are moving into eclipse season. I always find a lot of the energy can play out the month before. So there could have been some signatures relating to Libra, but definitely I would keep an eye on that moon in Pisces. By September, so September the 18th, we are going to have a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces at 25 degrees. And I do believe this Pisces moon is one to pay attention to. So it's going to be at 20 degrees, I believe. Yep, 20 degrees. It's going to be a new moon, and it's happening on the 10th of March. Now, look to the shadow sign. We did just move through the full moon in Virgo. The shadow sign of Pisces is Virgo. These are subjects that are coming up in 2025. Trying to prepare you guys for that. If you think back to around 2017-18, we did have Chiron in Pisces, and I can tell you that was not fun. When we do talk in layman's terms and spirituality of the Great Awakening, Different energies will go through that at particular times, and then there's a collective one. And I would really predict that 2025 will be that kind of wake-up call, and it can be quite difficult to transition through if you don't have the spiritual tools. You can have a lot of the dark night of soul. Those of you who have been through that already, you'll already be aware of what to do. But the pressure points in that area can come up, and there can be some transformation. So another reason why I'm really highlighting that moon that's coming up on the 10th. You also can find that you're going to have some intellect and some clarity, especially if you can trust your intuition, what those new chapters are going to be. What it could be something to do with your psychology. It could be something to do with your vibration. It could be habits and patterns. It is a Venus sign. On the home base energy, we also could be feeling a bit cooped up and wanting to maybe do things that are pleasuresome, wanting to do things that are more spiritually in alignment. Trying to calm myself. Yeah. Okay, so number one, we have the Sun in Pisces. We've got Mercury in Pisces at the moment. So spiritually, there is a possibility. We've got flying cards. There is a possibility you might want to use pacifiers to cope with stress. You also could get dehydrated, so trying to keep your hydration up. Psychic attacks are possible, so really good time to clean shop, really good time to get your crystals out. And to be aware that, especially if somebody is thinking negatively of you, you can actually pick up on that energy, and that can affect you. The nodes on the 5th are going to make a conjunction to Chiron, so it could be something that is a little bit challenging maybe, or something that comes out of left field, and it could be an idea as well. So it could be, hey, I need to address this now. And it's going to feel personal. So could we take things personal? We could. Mars also in the house of Aquarius. What can I say about Mars and Aquarius? A lot of attention in the area of, I would say, wealth, finances, group activities. It could be wanting to connect in with wider groups. We also could have issues with friendships. Again, each person will have it in their own individual chart. And it can feel almost people getting angry with restrictiveness, okay, in some shape or form. I also would say be careful in large groups. I still feel such. It's still coming through to me psychically. So avoid large places if possible, especially with Mars in Aquarius. We may have individuals that want to pop up, and it could be in the media. They may be protesting and things to that degree. We could see such. Also, subjects to do with refugees are possible during the month, and new changes happening around that. Water, anything to do with water, anything to do with pollution, water. Anything else coming to mind? I'll read the Sabian symbol in a minute. I'll just pick the rest of the cards for the twin flame read. And then I'll let you pick whether it's left or right, for masculine or feminine. I've got the joint energy here. I did put up a new schedule for the members' super chats. Due to the fact we are having an eclipse this month, I've put 3 up for you guys on this occasion to add that added support, okay? Definitely think situations to do with wealth is going to come up. I had my hair up and it was way too tight. Now it's irritating me. My daughter stole my hairband and I got way too much hair. And I said to her, you can't take that. It's the only thing that bloody fits my hair. And she took it. Daughters. Okay, Sabian symbol, way with the fairies. Sorry. Let's take a look. This one was a bit weird, this Sabian kind of reference point. A table set for an evening meal, the social get-together that breaks the ice. Pisces 20 degrees is an image of a journey to the day's end. It symbolizes the human pursuit throughout the day, efforts and labors that culminate in an evening meal, almost like reaping a harvest. Okay, we strive to reach the goal set before us. Like a dream, we seek to fulfill far off from the western horizon. The goal is expressed and enjoyed at the evening meal. So I do feel, especially with Pisces involved, this can be a time. And the good thing is we have both Saturn there and we have Neptune there to be able to spiritually and psychically, especially for those of you that are twin flames and energy workers, we can spiritually manifest things. And it can be the intuitive energy. And I think what we're going to need to do with this Pisces placement is trust our instincts with decisions. So it could be hunch energy. Neptune retrograde can kind of show us where we're out of alignment with it and maybe need to make some adjustments. At the moment, it's direct. Saturn also is there, which is going to be the legwork. You still can feel quite tired, and some of you still can feel in your own personal lives, and to do with the joint connection, that you're wrapping up an old emotional cycle and you're trying to get your equilibrium and your bearings and come to it from a different perspective. And I did make mention in the previous video for the twin flame joint connection. If you haven't seen it, it still will be relevant now. There were some kind of key pointers in the chat at the beginning that were explaining the reason why masculine energies were relating the way they were. Pisces at the moment in this placement can be where they spiritually are using pacifiers to deal with things. There can be psychology involved, but I go down the rabbit hole with it in the previous video if you want to go and watch it. So the Sabian symbol is talking about the interconnections and relationships. It suggests doing something that is going to be vibrationally key to us, something that is going to be vibrationally in alignment with us, nourishing the body and the soul. So it's as within us as without. So it's not just how situations are impacting our internals, it's how they are impacting our external world. So it's trying to get the harmony. And I think a lot of you particularly could be trying to get to a place where you're trying to find a harmony between what is structurally going to work in a long-term view, and still achieving the goal, as well as what you can do in the here and now. So you're trying to find a compromising point to be able to treat yourself, to be able to stay sane, to do some things that are going to be more enjoyable, as well as keep your eye on the goal, but you know what steps you would need to take or the situation would need to have to occur for that to be so. So wherever that lands, you know, especially if you know your astrology chart, Astro Seeker is really good for that. You spiritually already may be dealing with these things and trying to find a spiritual way to handle the situation, as well as a 3D. Your joint connection, the ruin cast, might start a label called call you Jag. Okay. Look, creativity is going to be quite high. We can look at this as the Renaissance. You know, there is going to be some changes in fashion, changes in business, entrepreneurship, especially with Uranus and Taurus. I do feel the way we work now is going to be very different. It can be more flexible, although if we think back to the last 3 years, we might have been quite rigid with the way we looked at things, might have been quite set in stone. Oh, I need to get into a job and, you know, it needs to be there forever and ever and ever. Now it's really taught us to be quite flexible, that our skills can be taken over into a different industry, or if we need to remove ourselves from circumstances. Some of us also, you may find, are working 2 jobs to try and get things done. That is because we were having squares with Uranus and Taurus. There was initially an inability to do that. Now there is the ability and the requirement to do that. So we're making sacrifices for long-term goals. Okay, so ironically enough, this bloody ruin class does relate to Uranus. Now, both Pluto at the moment is there, and that is really the way we are going to kind of relate to it, is we are going to want to have a very deep connection with energies. But they also can create temperamental energy. when Uranus is in the mix, be it social media, be it it's to do with changes, that is going to, Aquarius, affect the people, the collective. We will find we will need to adjust to those things, but it won't affect one person. It will affect everyone. So the ruin cast, what is it saying to do with the joint connection? Let's see. The tree, you, herb, lily of the valley, bird, goose, stone, pearl, astrology. And it was really funny with this Pluto and Aquarius, I was seeing psychically a lot of pearl related colors. It's almost like space age colors coming through, metallics, but definitely some pearl. It was almost like, especially with the term of Aquarius, it was almost like something that fits everyone, or something that is able to change color like a chameleon. That's what I was saying. So Uranus, white, and fire. Let me see the cards. Okay, on a mundane level, misfortune, damage, shock, sudden change. I told you it's sudden change. You know, whenever Uranus is involved, which Aquarius is there at the moment, Pluto and Aquarius, it can be something hidden is revealed and it happens very quickly. These actually can be positive things as well. They don't have to be negative things. But it's sort of like, for those of you that have experienced Uranus and Taurus, you know, going retrograde and direct, it's almost like you want to hide under the blankets. You're like, oh, gee, how is this going to be? Mentally prepare, because it's very sudden and sometimes it can come ahead of the transit. So Pluto and Aquarius will do the same thing. This can directly impact your life spiritually. So mundane, misfortune, damage, shock, sudden change, short-term distress followed by long-term rewards. Esoteric meaning, powerful natural forces, evolution, regeneration, cosmic journey. As well as warning us of potential crisis or catastrophe, it advises us to take care when catalyzing our ideas that we do not damage the very thing that sustains us on the most fundamental level of being. It's about right when you think about it, because we have this conundrum with Aquarius at the moment to do with technology. Okay, it's like, yeah, we need it, but will it take our jobs? You know, it's a catch-22. Now, this from a spiritual point of view can be that, like Jenga, you're trying to change something around in your spiritual path with this connection. And it's almost like you don't want to have to fake it till you make it. You want to be your authentic self. You're like, if I have to, I remember through my ascension process with my twin flame path, I would look under my armpits. Is there anything more to purge? Is there anything more to change? Maybe I could just try this. Maybe I could try that. And after a while, you return to innocence, which is more like you return to yourself. You're like, look, I just really have to be real with this. This is who I am. This is what things are. Yes, I can be semi-flexible, but at the same time, there's only so much you can take away from you before you realize, well, you're losing yourself, if that makes sense. So I feel this is spiritually the reference point it's making. It also could say, to be realistic with the context, maybe a situational ship you're dealing with this individual, that maybe it's impacting something and you're having to address it from a intellectual kind of level first, and then maybe from a verbal level. Okay, what else does it say? Yeah, it's not to forget your emotions, your psychology, your feelings, your needs, your desires. And like we referenced in the previous, nourishing both the body and the soul. So we can't lie to ourselves. If it's a spiritual connection, it's something that really resonates with you, you are going to feel as though it connects. But the opposite polarity is you also need to rest, you need to recoup, you need to stay sane in the meantime, if that makes sense. Let's look at the card reading. Let's not go down that rabbit hole any further. It will mean something individual to each of you. I do believe both parties here in the mix are dealing with quite a bit. I do feel it's almost like if you spiritually felt within this joint connection that you weren't good enough, or you didn't make the cut, or any of that, some of you could be raising the bar and thinking, no, I've always been worthy, I've always been good enough for this. And I think both parties are really looking at that. Some of you also could spiritually feel as though you are doing things in your own individual life that you are, it could be too simple. It might not be giving you the pay you desire. And it feels like correlating to the twin flame path. It's inadvertently affecting you because it's like it's holding you back, and you may have made other decisions. I feel it's it's almost like you're instinctually reflecting upon some past tense choices where it's led you to here. There also could be a spiritual conundrum that twin is going through in their employment arena, where at some point they were very content in what they were doing and now they're not. And, it's almost like some of them are actually venturing out, daring to dream, making some very bold decisions. And it may not be received so well. It's almost like if they were to go back to what they were doing before, they're overqualified for that. It's like that it would take them backwards and they want to go forwards. I also feel spiritually that they are feeling as though individuals have kept them small. Individuals have kind of placed them in a sort of like in a compartment of this is what they are and this is what they're always going to be. And they're quite frustrated by that. They don't feel that resonates with them anymore. It's a bit defiant in the energy. It feels outdated. They spiritually feel that notion feels outdated. They're a tad bit insulted. I feel that both parties have had their own individual stresses in their own personal worlds. This has not helped the ascension process. It also had stagnated the union energy for individuals. Again, whenever I see Capricorn energy, it's really coming back to Pluto. It's almost like you probably could say, maybe for some of you, it might have felt like there was opportunities, optimism. Something has shifted, and it probably would have been from November last year, but it really was coming through very heavily January and February. And it did get very depressing. It did get very dark and daunting, almost like you weren't believing in the situation. I'm hearing the term losing your religion, especially with Pisces involved. It can be where our faith in spirituality, looking at things like their cults, we can really come up with that as a bit of a spiritual battle mentally and be putting a big question mark on those things and asking questions and feeling quite confused. But I feel this is the reason why that blockage was there. I feel it's brought about a lot of old trauma. And I have said this to a couple of the members. The use of astrology for me in guiding you guys has been because I used it for my ascension. I was like, back in 2017, when I was on the floor having ascension, I was like, why is this happening? I just want to know when that wave of energy is coming in so I'm prepared with my swimsuit. And that is the whole reason I use it. What I can say is what we are moving into, it's almost like we've had this birthing energy that did come up. I would say you would have got the shadow energy already. We were pulled in two directions in two worlds. Both parties are feeling this. It's almost like a rebirth, pulled in two directions, cleaning up a whole life that all we have known is what was. And now we're going into this new chapter, which is almost like initially we were fretting and feeling, no, I don't really want to go down that road. Now we spiritually can be feeling, can we just get down that bloody road? Okay. Because we've been cleaning up a lot of the Pluto and Capricorn stuff. And it's felt that we've spiritually outgrown it, even though we were very apprehensive to move into the new. And I feel Divine Masculine's going through it. Both of you are now rejecting that old energy and wanting to move into the new. Again, you still could feel quite exhausted by it. Again, I keep seeing these frustrations relating to home, tradition, family, and tribe. And it's a time when we're spring cleaning, we're clearing out situations, we're opening up the energy for these brand new chapters. There can be for some, energy of maybe an ancestor transcending over. But again, it feels like there is something that has been given to you that is going to be quite good. I'm also sensing that there is a guide on the other side. If this is a person that has transcended over, this individual is trying to communicate with you, and they're actually saying that you're going to be able to handle a lot of what is coming. It's almost like some old situations you went through are going to serve you future tense. It's like you were made for this time. So they're asking you to trust that process. I also feel a lot of you are wanting to leave a legacy behind, very separate to just the spiritual path. There could be an old frequency that you're feeling. It's almost like it's coming through really traditional. It's like, look, I want to have my finances in order. I want to have my twin flame path. I want to know that I'm safe and I have a roof over my head and that I have my finances there intact, or I can retire one day. It feels as though you also want to have a traditional connection with this person with all the glitz and glamour. You know, it's not by half. You're not wanting half. It's not you're wanting the Ritz or anything like that. But you want to feel safe, protected, and nurtured. And I feel this is something that this person is wanting to give to you. They are almost quite distant at this point in time. It feels like they've got, you know, it's almost like some of you psychically maybe not being able to pick up on this. It's almost like I'm hearing it's like ghost silence, but it's like even if you are in communication with this person, it's like something is being hidden. I don't think this is a negative thing, though. I just feel this is something that the person is internalizing, processing, and trying to work out. And they just keep saying it is absolutely not personal. We do take it personal, but the reference point of what they're visually showing me is that this subject matter isn't something malice. That's kind of what they're trying to really hone in here. Okay, interesting. My guides have been saying this for a few days now. You can't fight fire with fire. And I don't know if that's true, but that's kind of what they're showing me in a reference point. I see anger here. I see frustration. This also could be the karmic third party energy. For those of you that have a twin in the karmic relationship, there could be battles there that are going on that you're aware of. But I also feel this, you could feel that there's a curse hanging over you. There's a curse hanging over your head. And it's just, I feel it's almost like there's a question mark. Again, they keep showing me a question mark that there's a curse and there's something blocking it. I feel some of this has to do with transits. I also feel, again, because of this individual's way in which they respond and behave, it's causing this to be a conflict. It's causing it to be confusing. The term cruel comes to mind. This could be an opinion you're holding of the way you feel that this has been going, like especially from an ascension point of view, the time frame, the ins and outs. I feel they're also making reference to the point that you're not the same anymore. You could be a bit defensive, but I also feel you're stronger than you think. You don't just want to have to keep getting crushed by a mountain. That's what they're making reference to. It's like you are strong, especially when we hear someone say, oh, you're only ever given what you can handle. When you're down in the dumps, you don't believe that. You're sort of like, are you joking? Like, no, I literally look like a squashed snail, and you reckon I am having all I can handle. Your previous traumas are going to aid you, okay, because you learned from them. So they are going to aid you future tense. Generally speaking, we're not going to relearn the same lesson because we've already done that. We passed that chapter. So reduce the apprehension to do with that. Divine Feminine, you make me want to drink water. Okay, how many of you are really fed up? How many of you are thinking this person is really immature? How many of you have had the potty mouth come out to do with your opinion of this individual? I just want show hands, please, because it's coming up in the cards. Have you had some festy moments and you've been like, this one Now, could it be that there is a blockage because of a child? For some, it could be, but it's coming up like this person in your mind is okay. It's like it feels quite derogatory, which look, no shade, no shade, but that's how it's coming through. How do I say this on YouTube? For some of you, you know what you've said, okay? You know what you've said. You know what you feel. We don't need to say it. We know. I know. I've seen it in the cards. Now, I'll show you here, okay? And I'm seeing it clear as day. When you get a page, it's some sense of immaturity. But the first thing I was seeing was a bunch of names being called. Could that have been punts? Could it have been chicken? Could it have been whatever it be, okay? You know, you got your right to have your feels. So you're going from this. It's look, Rome wasn't built in a day, but shit, I've been squashed. I've been a snail. I've been roadkill. You know, it hasn't been fun out here. Hasn't been fun. So now it's this view that you're looking at the masculine within the karmic situation, right? And the karmic doesn't have to be a physical partner. The karmic could be the person coming to terms with the past. It could be a physical job. It could be a behavioral pattern because they go through stages, as we do, right? This could also, if you're in that shadow energy, it could be happening in your masculine attributes of your life going on. So you could be quite critical towards your career at the moment and as an example point. It's like, oh gosh, you know, have I been mature? Do I need to level up in this area? Do I need to, you know? So yeah, that's good. So it's kind of coming through, like you're looking at it and you're like, look, I got a whole lot of love for you. But I'm having this brutal honesty moment. And this brutal honesty moment is showing me that I don't believe you. I believe that you just are giving your power away and you're just not able to. For some of you, you do actually realize that, you know, it is difficult when you are living a karmic cycle, karmic partner. Why do we have to go through it first? Generally so that we can understand, and we may accidentally enable after the fact, because we're still learning that very deep lesson of when you're exiting stage of a karmic relationship. Right? It's not easy. Some of you may stay for many years before you do something. Some of you enabled those individuals. Some of you were codependent on those individuals. And so it's not, you don't have the information in hand. But at this point in time, you could be forgetting that, or you could be remembering that, and regardless, saying harden the hell up. Okay? That's kind of how it's coming through psychically. It's like, look, I don't want to hear your excuses. This is how I physically see it. Yeah, not that I feel many of you are saying anything, but you're thinking it. Left or right for masculine? Be careful what you choose, sir. The irony of it, I can guarantee you will say to the left. I want to see how many of you will. And why would that be? Is it a song, maybe? How many of you are voting for the left due to the irony? So was it due to the irony? You may regret that. I'm going to do it both ways. I'm the right. Okay, I'm going to read this two ways. This is a double message reading. And I actually feel that's relevant because I feel there's different ways each groups are directly relating to this. Now, this is not okay. Look at this shit. It's lopsided. Who does that? Number one, who swears on social media? Yildiz. Rude. Anyway. Okay, so for those of you, you said right. Yeah, I did say that. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay left and it's okay right. Those of you that said left, if it's because of the song, everything you own in the box to the left, it could be that you're actually saying to yourself that, you know, I'm not going to check no twin flame reads. This is actually over, but I'm still going to check the twin flame reads. I'm just shitty. Those of you to the right, which we're going to read them, and then we'll get into the masculine and the feminine, okay? This is going to be a confusing way to do it, but work with me here. Those of you, I'm going to read the top row as that, okay? For those of you on the right, it's like a pick a card moment in the read. What I'm seeing is the reason this is coming up for you, i.e. the blockage, is because you are burnt out or unwell, because we have the 10 of Swords, okay? So it's not to say, it's not to say that there's not 100 million reasons why you shouldn't feel the way you do. But there is also a distinct possibility what is not helping the circumstances: lack of sleep, feeling crappy, feeling run down, 99 problems, and a bleep ain't one. Okay, so it's just, for those of you that picked the right, life is a lot. Life is like worn you down. And an extra bleep ain't one, that's part of the ascension process. That's so you don't enable. It's kind of a blessing in disguise. You don't see it at the time. You just see, look, you see this. Masculine, level up. That's how you're perceiving it, right? They're actually feeling the same within themselves. They also wish they could turn time back and they could be younger and they could do things differently. They honestly feel they would. Now, those of you that chose the left, just the pick a card part, and then we'll go into the read. You're not seeing it any better. You, and tell me if I'm right? You had to make so many friggin' sacrifices that you are resentful that this person has never done such. So, in fact, are you actually really resentful at the fact that they haven't showed up right now? Or is it because in an overall, there is a potential you have had to make way too many sacrifices in your life? Way too many. It's got to that threshold with the last straw, and it's like no more. And then you also do spiritually feel because you did, they may. And then therefore they'll get stuck, and that's just what they're doing. Those of you on the other side, you also feel they overwhelm themselves, so they just don't do anything. They shut down. Okay, there's a common mirror here. It's the reason why I wanted to do the pick the energy. Now, I do believe there is a fatigue happening here. I do believe also the Virgo moon, I did warn everyone, there is a potential we could be looking at things very critically. Having very high level stresses coming through, also expectations, emotions coming up to do with the moon, really missing this individual, really missing them. Yeah. So, look, you could get to a point at the moment, Divine Feminine. I feel as though there's a lot on your plate. You're disappointed, you're reflective, you're also, the other thing that is really irritating the crap out of you, especially for those of you that are getting the psychic attacks, is it's becoming exhausting. And how do you block that? How do you work with that? How do you manage it? It's like, in your minds, it can be, well, hey, it's actually bad enough at the fact that maybe this connection isn't completely there. And then we have the psychic attacks, the downloads, the interruption of sleep. This also is impacting you. Initially, you will find meditation will work. Later, you will find it simply won't, which is technically a compliment. It's because you're going to train the mind to tune out, to be present. It's almost like breathing it in, blowing it out, and it's going to dissipate and stop. But it is part of your ascension process to help you move into detachment. And it between now and the Pisces moon, my prediction is it can come up quite strongly. So if you have anything that you're purging out, let it go. Flush, drink fluid. allow this actual energy again to come through. Some of you also being way too strict on yourself. Am I just bloody waiting forever? No, we're always moving forward. We're always open. If there's something critical you definitely put on the back burner, address that. But are you waiting? No, you're growing. You are acknowledging the fact you have a spiritual connection with this person. You're acknowledging the fact you have feelings. It's your choice to choose what you feel is fit. What you're really wanting is them to take the bull by the horns and move forward. But you also are feeling you want to start having some fun and doing things that are going to kind of eliminate some of the severity of maybe even the depression that comes through with this circumstance. It's like you want to add fun and play into your life in the interim. You want to, even some of you are saying even a small gesture would be enough for you. Be careful what you ask for. I said the same. Yes, this person does have the power and they are going to move towards you. As long as you spiritually can stay in detachment, which is not getting up in your head, which good luck to that. Like I said, you become the crystal. Okay, some of you are going to have an offer. This can be an offer from a separate individual. Some of you could be intuitively thinking about a future energy with somebody else. Some of you are thinking as though that you're feeling like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you move forward, this person could show up, and it usually is the way it goes. Yeah, there's a reluctance around relationships for some of you. You also do spiritually feel in a karmic dynamic, you do see the end. Especially if this person over the years has come towards you, communicated, or you know the information surrounding that individual, inevitably that relationship will come to a karmic close, especially with this moon coming up and the following. What we have seen in the collective, and you'll see it through social media, with the eclipse in Libra, it is currently in the South Node. We will see a lot of divorces. But what we are finding is, because it is in the South Node, we can tweak old relationships and get them where we need them to be. It benefits you. We also can find a suitable mate energetically, okay, and have changes in laws, for instance, which some of them are quite ironic. They probably won't stay. Anywho, so that's what I'm saying there. I definitely do see some of you are feeling that you have a resilience and a strength. Hi, sweet. That's simply the karmic will never have, although not that that is any constellation. True. Now, on the masculine side, they have been dealing with sometimes there's a bit of a silkiness coming through. This can feel as though the attention, the love, the compassion, the understanding hasn't been there, but this can actually be about another person, okay? So it can be that there is somebody in their life that has been, and maybe overall this has been a consistent, people have been inconsiderate to them, people have been disrespectful, people have maybe used or abused the situation to get them to who they are today. So I definitely do see these individuals sort of feeling resentful of the fact that there's an individual that isn't showing a lot of empathy, understanding, and respect. And for some reason, I'm really picking it. Again, we've got the energy of faith in reverse. And, faith and religion and, astrology can be Pisces. And the next new moon is Pisces. So it really is signifying this week's energy. Okay, a strike of bad luck, which I'm seeing, it is going to the past. This is confirming, in fact, that there had been delays. This is because of some circumstances and them even feeling that they were quite cursed. They have had a stroke of bad luck. This could be in health. It could be within career. It could have been in personal dynamics and frustrations, like pushing a wheelbarrow uphill. But it's showing that it is moving to the past. So it's not in the here and now necessarily. Okay, I want to get a clarifier on the heart of the issue. Where the heart is. They want to be free to be who they are. They're wanting to. Some of them knew that they needed to be single before they moved towards you. They needed to do that healing before they could actually give you the world. Yeah, it was like it's acknowledging the fact that, especially for those that went through a spiritual breakup. What is that? I'm telling you. I'm putting my legs up. I think I saw a spider. I don't like spiders. I'm not scared of spiders, but I don't know. Okay, so it's almost like they went into hermit mode to focus on career. It's like they might have retreated back, and it's like, but it also is making reference to spiritual work. So it's like they just needed, it's like they retreated. Have you ever noticed that when some feminines, not all feminines, some feminines will just obsessively clean, you know, or get caught up in something and be frizzled and ratty? It could even be your parent figures. It's a way that they're psychologically processing. It could even be gaming, you know, going into gaming and just going absolutely silent, and they're, you know, dealing with that circumstance. It feels as though they're sort of pushing their energy into it, knowing that they needed to retreat back so they could really reflect upon this. Have they been avoiding a tower? Yes, they have been. Okay. Why? Maybe because of guilt, maybe because of expectations, maybe because they actually knew what this person was or what the circumstance was, and that it was dangerous potentially. It would cause issues. But this also can be a pattern and a habit of them being their own worst enemy. But for some, it can be a direct individual. I feel they're more ready now to address things. They're aware of what their shortcomings are. Yes, they do know that they're stubborn. They also do feel that they need to clean the situation up, that it is their job to clean it up. They got some crappy shit happening. Let's pull some more. What the hell is going on here? Is it because of the pending eclipse? Possibly. There's a bit of misfortune coming their way. It's like a burning building coming down. Okay, they give me weird messages. They're physically showing me there's going to be something in the media. How do I explain it? When this tower moment happens in their life, there appears to be, they're showing me that there's going to be something on the news, and it could be to do with a fire or a building. And they're saying this is when it's actually occurring. Okay, this is when the transition and the change within the karmic cycle is occurring. I feel they're also going to have a revelation of how they can actually be successful. This can be by eliminating circumstances. This can be by accepting what this circumstance is. So I'll give you an example. If they're in a karmic relationship and they have really struggled to accept the fact that they need to walk away from a dynamic, this is the revelation where something becomes quite heated. Something becomes quite messy to the point it's almost like they can't sweep it under the carpet and pretend it's all okay. It's like airing the dirty laundry. I also feel this showdown for those in a karmic relationship is going to happen. They're showing me the 16th. I don't know why they're saying the 16th. But they're also showing me again in a group setting. It could be with a bunch of friends. Okay, what do they want you to know? They want you to know that what they're dealing with right now is so that they don't have to go back to the way they were. They don't want to live in two worlds. They want to live in one world. What they thought a circumstance in the past was did not end up being such. There was disappointment associated to that. Their regrets of their choices have also caused bad luck, in their opinion. They have already made their decision up, but the way in which they're handling it, they're wanting you to trust them. They do have a picture of how they want it to be with you. They keep making reference to interferences, and it feels like there's a lot that has pulled on them. At times, it's given them panic attacks. It's almost like two worlds. Look at this. We've got literally, we've got two worlds here, and it's like they don't want to have to go from that to that. They don't want to go back. They're also quite concerned about what people around you are going to say about the circumstance. Like, are they going to be welcoming? Are they going to be accepting? I think they're moving beyond that as a physical issue. It's more an awareness. They're making reference to an awareness that could be an issue. They understand the reasons why it would be that way. They're also making reference to the point that they feel they can't make everyone happy. And that's something that they've had to come to terms with. That inevitably somebody here is going to get hurt. At a permanent level, no. Sometimes in releasing an individual, it can actually be freeing them to find their happiness. But it's that distaste in their mouth of regret. Okay. Some are having an issue to do with a home. There's a change happening in home environment. It could be that they're not home enough, that they're wanting to be home more, that they're wanting their own home. But there's definitely a home situation. They're also showing me an image of wanting to have a home with you. So this can be, depending on the circumstance that both you and this individual are dealing with, they're kind of painting a picture about that being like something that needs addressing, like the accommodation, where you will live, how it will work out. And so that's another question mark they've got here. Oh, God. Also, they're feeling quite critical on themselves. They might have worked all their lives and they feel that they could be leaving with nothing or coming with nothing. For some, not all. Others are really feeling they just want to live in the here and now. Yeah, they want to live in the here and now. They want to, but how they're wanting to show up for you is with a physical tidy slate. If they have been quite choppy in and out, they've had a lot of reflection. They've had some crappy luck in the past, the most recent past here, I would say over the last few months. But there is a head-on kind of confrontation coming up with the individuals at the moment. I'll leave it at that. I'll answer any of your questions quickly before we love you and leave you and check in next week. I have put the updates in the community tab for the members for your pre-release content. If there's any issues, PM me. PM me. You got, well, Skype only go on when I've got clients. So if you PM me, then you're not going to get me. The only place really you will get me permanently is those of you that are crazy enough to want to talk to me on Messenger. Generally speaking, the website, honestly, straight off the bat, an issue, go there. Or members in the Discord, straight off the bat. I believe he is cleaning up his life. Yeah, look, and it's hard. These are hard times. You know, it's not how it was many moons ago that, you know, it was, and life is hard, point blank, zero in a tidy up, regardless, right? Then you add all the other things that have been going on over the last few years, and we've got some added complications there. So we do need to be pretty realistic. So the psychic downloads, a fight for who will be leader. That's what I heard with the North Node and Aries. Who will be the new leader? And who, you know, we've got leaders all over the world. Leader, a dominant leader. The other download, I saw stalk totem. Google such, you can get an additional meaning. A lot of dragonflies, which again, I do really think it is to do with the change of direction very suddenly. It's like really unexpectedly and quite suddenly. So I think that really this month is something that you're going to have to be ready for. The psychic attacks in the initial, psychic downloads, very creative, very intuitive. You could get a lot of channel messages, and I'm also seeing most recently a lot of messages coming through in songs. So if you're having them, don't discard them, don't discount them, especially if it's a really random song and you just start singing it. Somebody's connecting with you. Listen to it. Who is that song connected to? Is there a memory associated to it? That's how you work with your psychic energy. Not to just say, hey, I was just singing a song. No. Sometimes they will use lyrics. Your guides will use lyrics to communicate with you. Humidity, yes, also will be there at the moment. And electrical energy, because Uranus at the moment in Aquarius can relate to global kind of electrical storms and things to that degree. If you have had aches and pains, always check a medical, practitioner first. The other element is in astrology, Saturn can be bones. If you have also been emotional eating, it is because of where Venus is at the moment. Anyway, pre-eclipse advice. Honestly, have some basic food resources ready. New passwords for your logins. A bit of cash on hand. Changes in contracts can come, new laws. I would also say with the eclipse, there can be a change for you individually. It is a new moon, but it is in the South Node. So it's not Mars and nature, so to speak, but the shadow sign is. Anything down to love, money, wealth, divorce, how your body's going to be impacted by it. Usually I would give it easy 3 to 4 days either side. Know where it's landing in your chart. I may do a webinar relating to the eclipse. We still have a little bit of time left. I have got quite a bit of organisation done over the last 2 weeks for the YouTube content I'm generally doing, but other energy updates I'm going to be doing. I'm trying to get everything sorted in the back end. What else could I say about the Libra energy? Heart chakra. So you could use your pink quartz. And again, I'll put more information up a little bit closer. Yeah, and generally you'll find big significant things can happen in certain countries that have Libra attached, which one can be China. And you'll already start seeing patterns coming through. Definitely changes of alliances. And, those earthquakes possible. It's Libra. It is Venus, agriculture, money, contracts, partnerships, divorces, famous Libras we can look at. Although Kim Kardashian is Libra, if you look at a chart, she has a hell of a lot of Pisces in it. So, you know, it's not your stock standard Libra hair. Yeah. So yes, I do believe we're going to have some very interesting dynamics go on between the next 2 months. April's set to be quite intense, but don't underestimate this one either. And definitely pay attention to the new moon in Pisces. This full moon can also mark sort of like currencies, monetary systems, maybe, you know, digital money, it could be. So those are some of the themes that can come up, but I'll go further into it a little bit later. So in the twin flame path, any last advice? Let me think. I'll put the banner up and I'll think briefly. Any last advice? What I'm spiritually saying, look at the two polarities of what came through. There was the feeling towards the way you're viewing it. There's the mirror work. Definitely take the tips to do with the clearing of your homes prior to the moon, psychic attacks. Listen to your guides. I wouldn't do any manifesting of the moon yet. Be in the vibration of it. Be in receivership mode. Trust your instincts. You know, it's a little bit like somebody being a medium. Who was it the other day? My mother was saying something to me. She says, "Oh, read me." And I said, "You never read anyone who's unwell." Why is that? Because they can impact you or you can impact theirs, and it's you're entering your vibration into that person. So Pisces can relate to that at this point. You need to get yourself balanced. You need to get yourself in a good vibration so you can cope with your ascension. Be prepared for the shifts in energy. There can be apprehension for change. Trust the process. Pisces is I don't trust the process. Lois loves saying, Yildiz always says trust the process. I'm telling you how the energy is going to affect you. You will be reluctant. You will be resistant. You will feel maybe anxious, nervous. Be aware of that. How the energy is shifting, I do see a shift happening with the masculine. How you interact with this individual is going to be key to help you get to the other side. If you can understand why this person is going through this, why they are choosing to do it this way, hopefully you're not going to take it as personal. And week by week, we do check in with it. What they're definitely saying is they do have feelings for you. What they are taking accountability for at the moment spiritually that I'm saying is they don't want to muck you around. So if they have gone into retreat, it is because when they do come towards you, they want to come to you with the whole goods, especially for those of you that you feel spiritually they've stuffed you around. They are looking also at the bigger picture in their life, and you feminines also. Some of you can also be going on a holiday very soon or planning to.